Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Tuesday, October 27th, 2020. We're again in the final hour of the trading day, my favorite time to make the majority of my buying and selling decisions. During the day, during the day, you have the day traders and the algorithms. They are the ones that are in control. They are moving the prices around. At the end of the day, you have the large financial institutions coming in with size. They're dealing with a lot of money. They have very smart people. They have very good information, best technology, and they take control of the price away from the day traders and the algorithms. And in my opinion, I think they have the best take, the best read on the market, and I believe it is an edge over time to follow what the large financial institutions are doing towards the end of the day, and particularly in the last few minutes. So thank you all for coming today. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing everyone. I'm very grateful that we have such a great group, so many great people in here, and I consider you friends, and I look forward to speaking with you and chatting with you each day. So, all right, what's going on? The Dow is down 170 points today. It's a mixed market. The Nasdaq is up 62 points, so it's up 0.5%. S&P is down 5 points, down 0.15, so kind of unchanged. So interesting markets here, tale of two cities with different indexes going different ways. So, okay, here is the plan for today, everybody. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them moving forward. I did have some day trades today. Happy to say they were positive. So on day 2 of my new streak. So I'll go over those and show you quickly what I was doing there and what I was thinking there. After that, we're going to go through the board and we're going to take a look at your positions. I see the mixed bag, some red, some green, but I'm glad they're not all red like it was yesterday. Yesterday was brutal. After that, we are going to talk about trader psychology, most important part of trading in the big picture, put it in context. You can have the best trade in the world, but if you can't follow your trade plan, what good is it? So I would spend literally 80-90% of your time on following your plan and your psychology. That is going to help you the most in the long run. It's not some complicated system. Really, I'm not very fussed about the system people use. As long as it has good trading principles, keep losses small, let winners run, I'm all about it. But what I'm really fussed at is if you don't follow your plan. So we're going to talk about that. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I've gone down through the results of Kamal Scanner and taken a look at some potential end of day candidates today. I do have 3 requirements whenever I look to enter a trade. First, look for a confluence or a combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames. Number 2, have to have a good risk to reward ratio, very important. No matter how good the setup is as far as the combination or confluence of indicators, it might be what I call a little chasey, right? It may be a little extended, whereas if you buy up there, your risk to reward is diminished. So you always need to have a good risk to reward. And then number 3, please always take a few minutes, consider how many positions you have, how correlated they are, how much account heat you have. That's the percentage of capital that you have in a position. And any capital you have in a position is at risk. So always keep that in mind, please. So we're going to go down through the candidates and we're going to go through them with a fine-tooth comb. If I find something that I like at the end of the day that meets all those requirements, I will go ahead and place an order. All right, so that is the plan for today. And then when the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, please let me know. I'm happy to help, happy to clarify anything. If you have any positions that you would like me to look at, any stock symbols that you would like me to look at before the close of the day, put them in the chat, put an emoji or an asterisk or something by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my very best to get to it before the close. And then lastly, if you have any new entries or exits or updates on your positions, if you could please wait till the end of the day so that the market's closed, the pressure's off, I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, and then we'll spend as much time as you need to get those taken care of. All right, so I'm going to run the US legal disclaimer and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks a lot. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, let's see who is here today. One sec. Gotta make, yeah, okay, there we go. Quad is here. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Hope you're having a good afternoon as well. Thank you for saying hi. Johan is here. Hello, sir. Nice to have you here. Hope you're staying safe, flying those planes around, and you're having a good evening. David is here. Hey, Dave, good to see you. I did get your message. I replied last night. I'd be happy to do that. Talal is here. Hello, Talal. Good speaking with you yesterday from Kuwait. It was very nice meeting you in person. Zach is here. Hello, Greg and dear Gossett friends. Hey, Zach. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Jose is here. Hey, good to see you, Jose. Hope you're having a nice day. My friend Dan is here. Hi, Greg and Gossetts. Look at possible Apple day trade on the 15 minutes triggering now. Okay. Yeah, I was looking at Apple right here. It needs to break out of this fractal right here on the 5 minute. Let's take a look. Yes, you're right. But the last 15-minute bar, Dan, did not trigger that V1, or did it? Let me see. Close, close. It was equal to, but didn't go above. You could have a very nice V2 here if this bar closes above this bar's close. That would be a beautiful return to value, sideways motion, wash out to the downside, false breakout to the downside, and reverse back up. But yes, you're 100% correct, but it has to go above this here if you're waiting for confirmation on the trade. It did go above intra-bar, so now it is failing. So if it does fail, and the fail would be a close below this bar's halfway, which it looks like it is right about now. So anyway, interesting to watch that, but it looks like it's definitely untriggering at the moment. But thanks for that, Dan. I'm glad. Good eye on that. Johnson is here. Hey, good to see you, sir. Teladoc V2 earnings tomorrow, though. Yeah, I don't want to mess with it if there's earnings the next day. Jatson, hello and good afternoon, sir. Hello, good to see you. I appreciate you coming by and coming back and visiting us. Frank is here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Tracy Peterson is here. Hey, Tracy. Nice to see you. If you have Paxton with you, please give him my best. Glenn is here. Hey, Greg. Hey, Glenn. Good to see you. Dan says in at 1632. Stopped out at stopped in 1632. Stopped out 1632. Sold 1616. Okay, well, that was a good setup, though. I'm glad that you identified that setup because that's about perfect, honestly. Let's take a look one more time back here. So this bar is still in play for 285 seconds. If it can get back over, you could buy it intra-bar, and the advantage is you might get a little better price. The disadvantage is there's not as much confirmation. So, you know, there's always pluses and minuses to that, but I mean, it's beautiful. Into the value zone, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, but it needs to trigger that first bar there. Frank has a poem for us. Let's take a look. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Traders with patience and true grit stick with a plan and never quit. Through highs and lows, it just goes to show these are the things that make a trader grow. Gosh. Frank, they just get better every day. And not only did they rhyme, which I'm extremely impressed with, they're also so pertinent to trading. I mean, Frank has such a deep knowledge of the psychology of trading to write these poems. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Traders with patience and true grit stick with a plan and never quit. Through highs and lows, it just goes to show these are the things that make traders grow. Isn't that fantastic, everyone? Thank you, Frank, as always. It's just unbelievably perfect. Unbelievably perfect. All right, well, let's get going here. Right off the bat, the old SPY trade. So I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning. This is based upon a long-term backtested study from Liz Ann Saunders at Bespoke Invest. She's the chief financial officer over at investment officer over at Charles Schwab since 1993. Two approaches here. Approach number one: buy the SPY at the open in the morning, hold it through the day, all day, sell it at the close. This approach, done every day since 1993, would return a negative 13.9% return. However, the opposite, this is the one that I use. Instead of buying it in the morning and selling it at the close, I actually buy it at the close, hold it overnight, sell it first thing the next morning. This has gained a positive 634.2% return. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. It has worked in the past. It doesn't mean it's going to work in the future, but if I'm going to allocate money towards something, it's going to be something that has good back-tested results, right? Might as well. You know, it has good results, so it doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. Blue line, buy the close, sell the next morning. Over time, all it has done is gone up. Orange line, buy the open, sell the close. All it has done is gone down. So the clear winner in this approach is buy the close, sell the next morning. There are large drawdowns, multi-year drawdowns. This is not a high winning percentage kind of a thing, but it does have good long-term results. If you're considering using this, I would definitely use a very small position size. Approximately 5% would be a good starting point. So if you had $50,000, 5% of that's $2,500. You buy $2,500 a SPY at the close and hopefully sell it the next morning for a little bit more than $2,500. That's the plan, but it does not always work like that. Yesterday, I got beat up, seriously beat up on the SPY. But today, you can see 2 days ago, I bought here, had to sell here. But today was a little bit of a gain. I did buy it yesterday at $339.39. I sold it this morning at $339.74. Not a lot, but it was a gain, and we are much lower than that. I will be buying that again today at the close. I also have another SPY position on, along with Brian, it looks like. I did buy the SPY back here at $33.82 with the 1050 crossover. Moved up nicely. Of course, whenever the stock moves up, I take profits as it goes up. I did lock in half of the profits here when we had a close below the previous day's low. Once it moves a certain amount, if I get a close below the previous day's low, I will get out. In addition, like I said, I do every time it goes up a certain amount, I take a small percentage of my position off and lock it in. This was actually a really good place for me, even though over time it went down because it gapped up. Or profit target, profit target, profit target, profit target, profit target, profit target. And then yesterday, not so hot tamale with the big down day. No profit targets today. I have about a quarter of my position left. If it comes back to my break-even point here, I will go ahead and just get out of the trade. But it will be a profitable trade, again, because of the phasing out that I do in locking in profits when there's bad price action. So that's that. So if it comes back down to 333.82, I will be out, but I'm very happy with the trade so far. VIX. All right. I did buy VIX way back here. I did not buy the shares. I bought calls on the VIX. But I approximately bought them right, or was it right about here? I think it was here on this day. I don't know. No, I think it was this day. I can't remember now because it wasn't a stock position, it was calls. But anyway, this is the area that I bought it in. I bought the November 20th calls, the $22 calls. Yesterday, of course, had a big day up yesterday. I did sell half of my position. I got in at 291 here. 291 was my call price. I got out of half yesterday at 365. And then it is up again today. So this has been a very nice trade. Again, whenever I have a nice big up bar like this, I always tend to take something off. Anytime there's a big expansion bar up, I always try to take advantage of it. That's why I sold half. It's up a little bit more than where I sold, but it's okay. And that really did help with the big losses yesterday in the market. So anyway, I am holding this, and then this was based upon the 1030 EMA crossover. Okay. Those are my only positions there. So both of those were positive. Well, that's not true. 2 of 3. The overnight was positive. The VIX is positive, but the crossover was a bit negative because the SPY's down. Okay, on gold. I did buy gold here. We came into the value zone. We made a lower high. If I make a lower high, I need to wash out that previous low. This bar accomplished that. Plus I had a V1. I bought here at 178.96. Couple sideways bars. Then it moves up strongly, just like I mentioned a minute ago. Whenever I have a bit, especially with day trading, if I have a big, nice bar that I'm like, oh, hey, look at that. That's pretty sweet. I take some off, whether it's a third or a half. I took half off here at 179.13. Moved sideways again, had another thrust up here. I didn't like the bar, how it closed. It got right up near the third ATR channel. So right near the close, I got out. So I got in at 178.96. I sold half at 179.13. Wait a minute. 178.96, got out at 179.13, and the other half at 179.32. So that was a pretty sweet trade. Okay. And what else? Apple. No. Intel. Okay. So I did short Intel here with this V1 to the downside, but the reason I shorted it was because I have to look at multiple time frames. And you can see this is right where I shorted. See how we were coming right up to the negative third ATR channel that was above us at the time? I looked at the 5-minute, I saw the V1, but I went to the bigger time frame, which is the 39-minute, and we had bumped right up against the third ATR channel. So the way that I look at that is, okay, there's resistance above me on the higher time frame. So that being said, I will take the short, and it worked out very nicely. I shorted here at 45.85. Had a couple big bars down. I was like, oh, sweet, this is great. Nice move down. That's my cue to cover half. I covered half at 45.68. Moved sideways for a little bit. Had another big bar down. I covered the rest. I wasn't waiting for a close above the previous day's high or anything like that, which you can certainly do. But with day tradings, I tend to take when there's big bars down. So I shorted at 45.85. I covered half at 45.68, and I covered another half at 45.54. And then lastly, I did short Apple. This is on the 5-minute on Apple. So here we lost the 50-day moving average, right? Very often, if you lose the 50-day moving average, you will pull away from it, come back up and try to test it. If it fails, it will tend to move down. So it's exactly here, and then it came down here. Here we came back up. It didn't test the 50, but right when it got to the -1 ATR channel above, that's where I instituted my short. Because if I was wrong and it closed above the 50-day moving average here, the 50 bar moving average, it would have been a small loss. But I shorted on the strength at 116.45. Let's see here. 116.45. Next bar had one of those big down bars. I was happy with it, so I took half. And I remember Kamal and I were talking at the time of the trade. Then it went down. When it went down, had one more big bar down, and I said, that's enough. It's enough profit. So I shorted at 116.45. I covered half at 116.24, and I covered another half at 16.02. One of the reasons why it went under, it tested the 116 even level and bounced up. So anyway, really decent trades there. Very, very happy with that. Okay. Jatin says, the more VIX sustains at this trend line resistance, it has higher chances of doing 37. Are we talking about the VXX or are we talking about the VIX index? I think you're talking about Jatin, right? Because, you know, here the VIX on the index is up, and it's 2 days above the 200-day moving average. If it just goes up and comes right back down, that's concerning. But this is very strong right here that we are finally closing above the 200-day moving average. I mean, look how many times we went up, rejected. Here we rejected again, and now we finally broken up to the upside. So I agree with you 100%. All right, let me take a quick little look-see over here. Okay. All right, now let's take a look here. The VIX is up. Frank has a half a position. I think he bought this back here with the 520. Now I can't remember. No, I think Frank, you'll have to tell me, Frank. I can't remember if it was from the 520 crossover or this V1, this V2 here, because that's where I took the TQQQ, but I had to get out yesterday. But I think that's, I'm pretty sure that's where you're in. But if I'm wrong, let me know. We've had a few Q trades, but it is up 1.9 points today, up 0.69%. So regardless of where you got it, you're glad that it's up today. KMX, Quad bought KMX back here at 91.50 with this false breakout to the downside, and the V1. You know, the only thing that concerned me about this trade was the big down bar here, and it triggered here right at the halfway. And many times if you have a big down bar and you trigger right at the halfway, it goes back down. Of course, I didn't know that was going to happen, but just in my experience, very often that does happen. So this is down 1.5% today and down on the trade. Intel has been a wild one. My gosh, Gary sold puts, the 4540 puts. Was looking so good up here, but this is a good example, everybody, of why it's not a great idea to hold stocks through earnings. It fell 10% on the earnings, and it has gone down ever since. Gary's in a little different position because he sold puts. He sold the 4540 credit spreads, which gives him protection. As long as the price closes above $45 by November 20th, he's okay. He'll make money. But right now it's right there. It's at 45.49. So one of the reasons I shorted this today is because it was such a weak stock. I was looking for, you know, the old saying, buy the dip and sell the rip, right? Well, in a downtrend, you want to sell the rip, or in other words, sell the rally. So I would imagine he's probably a little underwater on this trade now because of the time that's still remaining. Okay, Kamal and Gary bought TQQQ. This was a good setup. I took it. I had to get out for a loss yesterday. It is up 2% today, so it's made a nice comeback. Kamal and Gary both sold 131 calls for 11.05 and 11.20. So Kamal is going to get $1,105 and or $50, and Gary's going to get $1,120 as long as it stays under 131. So it's at 135, so they are down a little bit. I mean, they're certainly down on the calls that they sold, but they own the stock, so the stock makes up for it. So that's their idea here. So Kamal and Gary, you know, being that we have this new information here, just let me know how you're going to manage the trade. Give me 1 second. It just got really cold in here. It is cold here in Utah. It was like 24 degrees or something like that. Just a week ago it was in the 70s. So it's been a big change. RBA. Ritchie Brothers. Mark bought Ritchie Brothers at 60.61. It had just a meteoric rise up here, but now it's just come right back down with the V top. It is up a little bit today, but it looks like Mark is slightly underwater on the trade unless he had gotten out of part of it. It is holding the 50-day moving average. Walmart, Brian bought Walmart at 140.69. It is now 143.12. It is up 0.68% today, and Brian is up on the trade. So that's good news. AQN, Mark bought at 15.29 back here. It is up today, and he is up nicely on the trade, so that's good. TME, Johan, this has been a nice trade for Johan. False breakout to the downside, V1. Johan bought it at 14.30. It is at 15.03, down 1 penny today, but still nicely up on the day, or up on the trade, and big recovery. But this so far has been a 4.86% move for Johan in about the last 10 days. So very nice there. Google, Gary sold the 1200 1150 November 20th put spreads. It's at $15.99.63, so almost $1,600. So he does have $400 in downside protection for him to make his money on his credit spreads. LVGO, oh, nice going, Frank. Frank bought LVGO at 132.50. Moved strongly up next day, had a big reversal, sold half, but he kept the other half, and it is up 4.57% today. So beautiful. Looks like earnings are coming up there, Frank. DKNG, I have Yas. Ooh, so here's a V1 bounce off the 100-day moving average, rejection of the negative third ATR channel, false breakout the downside, good setup for sure. But moved sideways the next day. Yesterday lost the third ATR channel, lost the 100, and then had some follow through today. So this is down on the day, down on the trade. And then lastly, Kamal. Okay, Kamal. Well, he bought here at 269. We had the 520 crossover. He didn't want to chase it, so he waited for a dip while the crossover was still in place. 269. I know he had phased out 2/3 on the way up. I don't know the exact prices. And then yesterday he added another third to his position yesterday near the lows, I believe. I don't have the exact price. So now, if my math is right, and it might not be, he's out of 1/6. That could be totally bad math on my end. But anyway, I know he's nicely up on the trade, and he bought that dip yesterday. Has worked out. It's up 2.31%. So very nice, Kamal. These trades are getting a little bit more complicated when we throw in the puts and we throw in the averaging out and selling at profits and buying back low. I'll do my best to get these up here, but you have to keep in mind I can't do calculus and figure all this out. But anyway, good trades there, everybody. Ba, ba, ba. Frank says, regarding Q's, bought Friday. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Frank. Glenn says, hey, Greg, I sold RBA already. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, RBA is gone. And I assume it was a profit. Talal says, Reggie V2, is that a stock symbol? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always feel like I have to rain on everybody's parade, but it is a stock, it is a V2 Talal. However, two things no good. We came into the value zone, we made a lower high. It's fine to make a lower high if you then wash out the previous low. That didn't happen. Another thing, here's the day one bar, here's day 1, 2, 3. Day 2 does wash out day 1, day 3 looks like it's it is above day 1's close. This bar, the day 1 bar, is larger than 1 ATR. And Talal, if you remember from Carey, because Talal has studied with Carey, if the day 1 bar is larger than 1 ATR, it means that there was a lot of supply, more supply than usual, to get the stock to move down more than the range of 1 ATR. So Carey Lavorne would not take this trade because 1, it did not wash out the low, and 2, the day 1 bar is larger than 1 ATR. Jathan says, stocks like Google Zoom showing strength, not breaking the resistance, turn support irrespective of the volatility in the index. Tesla consolidating at resistance with volume contraction. Good analysis. Let's look. Yeah, volume is, and yes, we are in a range here. The 520, I believe, is a I believe, don't hold me to this because I haven't tested it lately, but I believe the 520 crossover on Tesla does back test well. So you would need a trigger. Yes, it's consolidating, but the way that I trade, consolidation is fine, but you need some kind of trigger, whether it's a V1, a V2, a crossover. You know, if you wanted to stretch it, you could say, okay, here's a trigger because it rejected the 50, and if it closes below the 50, you get out. But this was a big move down here on a lot of volume. I would expect Tesla, if it keeps moving up, right to about here, because that would be a move back up halfway to this big washout bar. So that's my take there. David says, I have to report a very happy accident. I was in PLTR last week. I was supposed to sell while on vacation. I put the wrong order and it did not go through. Anyway, I decided to keep it. Oh, I can't wait to look at this. Holy hamburgers. Wow. I remember this. You bought this here, I think, if I remember correctly. Wow, fantastic, David. Up 10%. Happy accidents. Fantastic. Everybody give a clap to David for making an accident that was happy. Very nice. Ava, hi, Greg. How about Monster for V2? You know, yeah, I do have Monster on my watch list today, Ava. It's one of the ones I'm looking at. I've been struggling with this one. We do have a return to value. We have a sidewards motion. We made a lower high, but we did wash out the lower low here. We gapped up, which I'm not super thrilled about, but we came back and filled a lot of the gap. But it is a V2. Here's day 1, here's day 2, here's day 3. Day 2 thoroughly washes out day 1. Day 2 is triggering a V2 here off of the day 1 bar. Here's the close. We are above it. You know, when I look at this, what concerns me, you know, just a little bit is we have that 50-day moving average right above us. However, if I bought it here today, which I might, if it rejected the 50 tomorrow, I would straight away just get out of half. But on the other hand, we did go under the 50 RSI, over the 50 RSI. At the same time, we had the false breakout to the downside and the V2. It's pretty good. I'm going to wait till the end of the day and see just to make sure it confirms. But if we go to the weekly, we have a V1 on the weekly. Here's week 1, week 2, which is this week, went below, closed back above. So I like the confluence. Earnings looks like next week or the beginning of November, right after the election. So it wouldn't be a longer term hold, but I am definitely consider buying this today, Ava. Quad says, I'm thinking of staying in cash until the election. Too much volatility. Well, that cuts both ways. It depends on what side of the volatility you're on, Quad. But listen, nothing wrong with that decision at all. But if you do decide to trade, regardless of an election or anything else, position size correctly, take into consideration the volatility, look for good risk to reward setups, get out quickly if you're wrong. You know the drill. Gary says, hello, Greg and group. Hey, buddy, what's going on? What's going on with your Intel put spreads? Are they underwater now? My guess was yes. But I'm just kind of looking at it, doing some quick math in my head. But it's kind of hard because you have to figure in the time decay or the time left. Ava says, yes, 50 SMA is resistance always. Yep. Where's my monster? Right here. Yep. But just because I see the 50 above me, Ava, doesn't mean it hasn't proven that it's going to reject it. So I still would take it. If today it went above the 50 and closed below, no way I would take it. So anyway, all right. So listen, I'm running a little low on time, aren't I? Just want to switch gears, talk a little bit about trading psychology before we take a look at the possible end of day trades. Trading psychology is very important to me. I read a lot of people's posts because they're good for me. And when I see something good, I like to discuss it here on the podcast because I hope it will be good for you. Trust me, there is nobody out there that could not use a little tune-up when it comes to trading psychology. But this is from Akil Stokes. He's over on the New Trader, Rich Trader. He's also, sorry, I don't have it on here, but he's also on Twitter at Akil Stokes RTM. That's his Twitter handle, Akil Stokes, at Akil Stokes RTM. And he's over on the New Traders, Rich Traders on Facebook. And Steve's there, I'm there, Tom Basso's there, Kamal's there. It's a really good channel. You should go over there. You have to apply to get into it. But I love Akil. He's a trading coach, does videos every day. Seems like really positive, great guy. I've never spoke to him, but I know he does a lot of good for a lot of people. Here he is with his family here. But let's see what Akil has to say. Easiest thing to do is to make money. Hardest thing to do is keep it, to believe you're worth more. That's a big one right there. To be willing to develop new habits, to drop bad habits, to be patiently aggressive. I love this. This is exactly what you should be. I don't see Steve today, but I mean, if anybody was ever a poster child for patiently aggressive, it's Steve Burns. He's super patient, but when his signals come, he's aggressive. To be patiently aggressive, to keep learning, to stay humble. That's a big one for me. People that are cocky, I'm always suspect. And 8, to think big. The rest is easy. So, I mean, here we have, these are 8 big things, but yes, to keep it. I've been in that situation. To believe you're worth more. You do have to believe you're worth more. If you have in the back of your head that you're not worth it, you will self-sabotage yourself in trading or whatever else. To be willing to develop new habits, okay, that's apropos for trading. Develop new habits or break bad habits in trading. To be patiently aggressive, we talked about that. Be patient, wait for your trade, then you can be aggressive. Keep learning, always keep learning. I always still study trading. Stay humble is very important, and to think big. So thank you, Akil Stokes. That's fantastic. It was helpful for me, and I hope it's helpful for everyone else. Let me make a little adjustment here to my friend's account. Okay. Jose says, any thoughts on CRM? Well, so Jose, it is a V2. Here's day one, here's day two, here's day three. Day two washes out day one's low. Day three looks like it's closing above day one's close. It also rejected the 50 back over, which is positive. My only concern, two things. One, it's a 49.43 RSI. It was higher in the day, so that means earlier today it already tested the 50 RSI and rejected it. Just that. Now, if it closes above 50, that's a different story. But right now, it's 49.49. It went above 50 and closed below. The other thing, you're buying a V1 from a lower low. People that were lucky enough to have bought it down here, Jose, if I bought down here, I would be looking to sell here because that's what happens when you have lower lows. Lower lows tend to bounce, come back down. If it were me, I mean, this does look strong, but I would not buy it here. I would wait for it to come up in the value zone. Maybe it goes up a little bit more tomorrow, come back down for a couple days, and then grab that higher low V1. The higher low V1's the one that can trend. These are bounces, and a lot of that bounce, if I bought it anywhere yesterday, I would be selling it today. So I hope that puts it into perspective. Gary says, yes, they are slightly underwater, but as long as Intel stays above 45, I will continue to take advantage of the time decay. Yep. All right, let's take a look, see if we have something happening today. Here is Philip Morris. Man, Philip Morris has just been in trouble, hasn't it? It had good earnings. Just a good example. Good earnings, good outlook, raised the dividend, and look what happened. If you would have had inside information on this day, oh my gosh, they're raising the dividend, had good earnings, good outlook. You know, if you had inside information, you'd probably be buying. And look what happened. You never know. I used to be the officer of a public company. I could never figure out what the stock was going to do. And I knew what was going on. So anyway, we are at the negative third ATR channel. 92% of prices fail here. We are to 32.36. So there's a nice confluence of a low RSI and the third ATR channel. In order for me to get interested in this, I know it looks super, super scary, but I would need it to go under 30, back over 30, and maybe a V1 close back over the 1 ATR channel. That's where I would take a shot. But just like I was telling Jose, that trade I wouldn't think would go all the way to the top. I would expect that to maybe go from like here up to here, and that's where I would get out of it. So anyway, nothing on Philip Morris today, but possibly tomorrow. Here's Biogen. Okay, so look, it did go under, it's 30.33 right now on the RSI. It went under 30 and over 30. That's good. But what I don't like is that, see the third ATR channel above us, it went under 30, went all the way back up, rejected the third ATR channel as resistance above us. So no, I don't like this. Plus we have this big bar, which means even if it does rally, it's probably going to get stopped right about here. So no, I don't like Biogen. VRTX, this is better. We have a V2 and a false breakout to the downside with a rejection of the negative third ATR channel. It's much better. This one's much better. Earnings in a couple days. We're getting stuck at the 5 EMA. Let's look at the weekly. The weekly, we're right there having that resistance right above us of the 100-day, 100-week, and the third ATR. Honestly, just like with my Intel trade, I would probably be looking to short this on the daily because the weekly is bumping up against resistance on the weekly of the negative third ATR channel. There's no trigger here for me to short, but no, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass on VRTX. OTEX, we went under the negative third, over the third, but there's really, oh, sorry, we went under 30 yesterday, right? Yes, we did go under 30 yesterday. This is kind of interesting, actually. We did go under 30, over 30. We went up. Today we held the 50% move to the downside, and we bounced off the negative third ATR channel. Let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly still has the 100-week moving average above it. This would be a complicated trade, but my gut tells me that the support's there because we came down under 30, over 30. We went up again, but then came down, tested the halfway, and did bounce off the negative third. I'm not going to take this, but my gut is that more likely this goes up than down, but I'm not going to buy this. TDOC, very strong. I don't know how TDOC, which is Teladoc backtest with the 520 crossover, do we have it? 218.60, 218.59. Yes, we do have it, but we have earnings tomorrow. I mean, this is a pretty sweet V2, false breakout to the downside. Yeah, this is pretty good. But again, there's earnings tomorrow, so I can't do it. I can't buy with earnings. I don't know if earnings are in the morning or the afternoon, but this is quite strong with the crossover, false breakout to the downside, V2, rejection of the 50 RSI, rejection of the 50-day moving average. But again, there's earnings tomorrow, and I don't know. I would consider buying it today if the earnings were tomorrow afternoon, but not if they're in the morning. SOHU is not too bad. False breakout to the downside and a V2 back in the value zone. Weekly is right in the value zone. How many shares traded on this? Oh, only 104,000. Not enough shares for me to be, not enough shares traded for me to get interested in. VLO. Big double bottom with bullish divergence, missing right shoulder. Here we have a low with deep red. We rally to green. We come back down. We are now lower with no red. MACD is still positive. That's pretty dang strong. On the weekly, you know, we're holding this range here, but there's no trigger. We need a trigger. False breakout to the downside, V1, under 30, over 30. If this went under 30 and back over 30, I would buy this in a heartbeat because of the double bottom bullish divergence, missing right shoulder situation. But there's no trigger. So you can have, the setup is here, no doubt about it. This is Dr. Elder's sandbox right here, right? But he would need some kind of trigger first to get into the trade. So I'm sure Kamal's scanner will pick this up tomorrow if it goes under 30, over 30. TMUS. It's a V2 today. Rejection of the 100-day moving average. What is that? T-Mobile on the weekly. I would rather wait for a higher low. We've made a lower low. Yes, it might get into this area, but then very likely it will fail. I'd rather pick it up on a higher low V1, V2. HRC doing really well today, but way outside of my filters where I can buy. We're at the third ATR channel. 92% of prices fail here, so I'm not going to be buying there. GH, wow, beautiful. But again, risk to reward doesn't make sense. It's very strong. We have crossover, we have V2, but you know, the move's gone there. I mean, maybe it goes one more day, but where would you put your stop? What, like here at the very least? You know, we're already at the second ATR channel. This is the third ATR channel. 92% prices fail there, so nothing there. RMD, very strong, but again, at the third ATR channel. Monster Energy is, it's decent. It's false breakout to the downside, V1. It's holding over the 50 RSI. Now it's under the 50 RSI. If it's under the 50 RSI, there's no way I buy it. UNG, which is natural gas, no, I don't like that. It rejected the 50 and the 200. VIPS, very, very strong out of this consolidation and big momentum move up, but it's the 71 RSI, almost to the fourth ATR channel. Doesn't make sense. Coca-Cola, I'm not quite sure why that one came on the scanner, but I don't see anything there. And Clorox already rejected the 50. So the only thing that I am really looking at today, everyone, is Monster, but only if it closes over the 50 RSI. Only if it closes over the 50 RSI. I was looking at gold earlier for a 520 crossover, but the crossover is not there yet. It's 178.93. The 20 is 178.99. So if it had a big thrust up here at the end of the day, it's possible, but very likely the crossover will happen tomorrow. So the Dow's down over 200 points now. Okay, so I am buying SPY at the end of the day, as always. I'm holding my VIX, which is down 3 cents. The rest of this stuff was day trades. Frank, I forgot again, buddy. I forgot again. Frank is in Apple at 111. It's at 116.68. So very nice trade there. And this is a V2. Let's see, close. Yeah, it was a V1 yesterday. Has earnings in a couple days. I think I'm just going to stay away from it. So Monster looks like the only thing I'm going to buy, but right now it's 49.58. If it closes under 50, I certainly will not buy it. Frank says that PM chart could definitely get me to start smoking. I agree. The only saving grace that is in a friend of mine's portfolio for the dividend, the only saving grace is I have been actively selling calls against it, so that helps. Jackson says, Align Technologies, a good buy zone would be 1410 to 1420. A multi-year breakout and over explosive volumes are the highest since last year. Good earnings obviously can pull back to the 13 EMA. I don't know what the symbol is on that. Yeah, I don't know what the symbol is to look at that. Maybe if you have it. Steve Burns, you're here, buddy. What's going on? Good to see you, my friend. Always an honor, privilege to have you here, Steve. Steve says, my internet went down right at the last hour of trading. I'm still holding my put option here. Right, yeah. Here we go. So Steve and Gary bought put options. They had a great put options that they bought here and then had the big move down yesterday. They cleaned up yesterday. Then they rolled over, bought new put positions, which is down 80 cents today. So their puts most certainly in the money. The price overcame the time decay, very likely. So yes, and they're basing that on the 1030 EMA crossover, which happened back here, and that's why I bought VIX also. And by the way, Steve brings up a good point. You know, if your internet goes down, what are you going to do? You know, it's good to have a backup. If you have a hotspot on your phone, something like that. Steve says, I have trying to find enough bars in my phone to go through charts. It sucks. Oh, so he doesn't have enough reception. Shoot, you should have Skyped me. ALGN. Oh, yeah. Very, very strong. What I do like here, Jatson, is we had the volume on the way up, obviously, but the volume has gone down, down, and down. If there was a lot of distribution, if people were unloading a lot, you would see it show up in the volume here. There's a little profit taking. That's what these bars are, but that is good. But yes, I need this. For me, the way that I trade, I need this to pull back in the value zone. I have to say, though, see the gap up we had here, Jatson? I've seen back tests on this. If you have a gap up, if that gap can hold for 3 days after the gap, there's a much higher likelihood that it goes up than down. If you get a gap and then 1 or 2 or 3 days later it closes and goes below the low of that gap, that's a bad sign. So this is a good sign. This is a good sign that we're holding 3 days above the gap and that volume has increased. If you saw a lot of volume here churning, that would be people unloading. Gary says, Greg, I forgot to mention I took a day trade on Apple Friday and ended up keeping half. Entry price was 114.65, and yesterday I sold calls October 30th, 120 calls against it. I took a day trade Friday, ended up keeping half. Entry price was 114.60, and yesterday I sold calls. Oh, so you sold calls against it. Gotcha. Let me see. I just want to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Yes and yes. All right, so the only thing I am looking at today is Monster. It's right at the 50 RSI. We have 3 minutes to go, so I'm going to have to just put this in here and monitor what it is doing towards the end of the day and see if it holds above that 50. So right now it's under. VIX went positive on the day. Interesting. Gold, we do not have the crossover. Boy, this is a great example of finding that 50 RSI resistance on Monster, but I will buy Monster if and only if it closes over 50 RSI. My stop would be a close below the halfway, the washout bar, right about here. If it rejected the 50-day moving average tomorrow, I would immediately sell half my position, but that's only if it closes over 50. So I have the order ready to go here if and when it closes over 50. Right now it's right at 50. Glenn says Microsoft and Dexcom earnings coming up after hours. Yes, sir. That should be interesting for sure. Oh, by the way, well, just real quick, do we have a cross under on the Qs? 583.29, 583.17. So no, not yet. But that would bring in buyers, and I'm sure that will all have to do with where's my Where's my Monster? 30 seconds to go. 49.81. Doesn't look like it's going to close over, so I'm not going to buy it. So all I did today was buy the SPY overnight. And where did I get filled on old Mr. SPY? SPY, overnight SPY trade at 338.22. Okay. So new SPY entry point 338.22 for tomorrow. VIX did end up over a 0.5%, so that's good. Gold, very likely get the crossover tomorrow on gold. Intel recovered off its low. Apple. So I only have 3 positions: one overnight SPY trade, one 1050 crossover trade, and VIX. But it was green day today. Good day trades. I'm thankful for that. So it looks like Microsoft earnings are going to be coming out. That should be interesting. Listen, if you have any new updates for me, please let me know. Just put them in the chat real quick. Just want to remind everybody, I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time. I think I teach a really good course. 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours for a total of 15 hours. Just one-on-one, long form teaching, like sitting there with Joe Rogan, except I'm not Joe Rogan, but it's the same thing, right? There's no rush. We have lots of time. I teach you everything I've learned from all my mentors and teachers like Stephen Burns, Carrie Lavorne, Dr. Alexander Elder, Larry Williams, and in my course I teach you all of what I've learned from these 4 gentlemen and all the specifics. You know, it's a pretty advanced course, honestly. I mean, it's not a simple course, but trading is not simple, is it? Right? It's not simple, but I know you'll be a better trader when you finish. I really believe that. So if you are interested, please let me know. Just send me an email and let me know that you'd be interested in that you have an interest in the course. I'll reply and say, hey, that's great. Let's set up a Skype call. Skype call is free. It's not a sales call. I just want to learn more about you, your trading, what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, what your challenges are, your experience. And then it's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course. And then when we're done, I'll say, nice meeting you. Think about it. You know, if you decide that it's something you want to do in the future, just email me back and we'll get it scheduled. And then if you like today's podcast, I certainly would appreciate it if you could just take a couple seconds, hit that thumbs up button before we get out of here. It helps build the channel, keep the channel around, helps let YouTube know that there's some valuable content here for people. But, you know, only if you like it, only if it was valuable to you. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to go here to the old Microsoft's up $2. Have they had earnings already? And AMD also comes out. And by the way, Kamal's guess was Microsoft was going to beat and AMD was not. So that's on record, and let's see if Kamal's right. Okay, Johan is out of time. Nice trade. Rejected the 50. I 100% agree. Kamal says, Microsoft up does not seem to have reported though. Yeah, so maybe they're just front running it. No trades for Kamal. I didn't see any either, Kamal. Gary says, Greg, I forgot to mention I took a day trade and ended up keeping half. Entry prices. Okay, so let's get that here. My chart drama. I know Frank is in at 111, I think, pretty sure. Okay, and then Gary is in at 114.65. Also sold $120 calls. 120 calls. October 30th against it. Oh my gosh. If I could spell against, that would be good. Okay, so you're in at 114.65 and it's 116.53. So very, very nice there. So I'm not going to put the line, Gary, but I put it there in the notes, okay? Frank says, yes, we have no bananas. Yeah, I don't have much going on here either. Little overnight SPY trade. I got the 1050 crossover trade on about a quarter position left, and I have the VIX, so I'm pretty light. Ooh, Facebook was up nice today for Kamal. Very good. And congratulations to David on his happy accident. Up 10%, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to put this PL. Oh, where did it go? PLTR. Come on, Greg. All right, if I remember correctly, you bought it somewhere about here. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. What a great accident to happen. Imagine if it was the other way. Very nice, David. Okay, we got that up there. Oh, now I see Microsoft is down after hours. Apple is down after hours. Qs are down. SPY is down. How dare you? Philip Morris up 45 cents. How about that? Microsoft beats 0 for 2. Oh, you sold half today. Okay. I don't know where. I'm just going to assume it was at the end of the day. And I did get your message. I'm happy to do that. So you just let me know, Dave, when you want to do that Skype call. Sold 1/2. My 3 favorite words in trading, sold 1/2. Now the pressure's off, right, Dave? Just off. Kamal says 0 for 2. Jonathan says Microsoft beats. Dave said, right, that was the entry. How's that for customer service? For me to know a trade of yours 2 weeks ago. Ha ha, right? Kind of impressed myself with that, actually. So Microsoft beat, but the stock's down. AMD beat, and it's up a little. So one thing I want you to remember here, on the Qs, it's kind of amazing how this all works, but the Qs, the 520 cross is 283.24, 283.15. So it is still above. Now, if the 5 crosses under the 20, a lot of people follow this approach. The mechanical trend traders follow this approach. That will be their sell signal. With Microsoft being down, beating, and being down, and the Qs being down, if we go down even a little bit tomorrow, based upon these earnings here, we're going to get the 520 cross under. for sure. So who knows? I think that's a critical point. Now, Microsoft with their forward guidance, it might be good, and this might turn around and go green. But I would not expect to see a down day tomorrow on the Qs, just based upon the 520 cross under, and if the market didn't like Microsoft earnings. SPY, how dare you, SPY? I'll make myself feel better and look at the VIX. Aha, up 0.66%. All right. Now Microsoft's down 1.4. Hey, Kamal, just to set the record straight, were we talking about Microsoft beating and AMD not beating, or were we talking about the result of the price going up or down? Gary says, thanks, Greg and group. Hope you enjoy your afternoon hike. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Johan says, thumbs up as always. Enjoyed the session. Have a good one, everyone. You too, Johan. Thanks. Have a good evening, my friend. Sleep well. David says, thanks, Gergen Group. Thanks, David. Jackson says, great session indeed. Thanks, sir. Got a great learning today. Fantastic. That's music to my ears. That's why I do it. I try to help teach, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Oh, now Microsoft's positive again. Boom. Must have been the guidance. Well, that was a big turnaround on Microsoft. Now it's up $2. Wow, and off to the races. Now the Qs went positive. SPY cut a lot of its loss. 1 out of 2. I was talking about Microsoft stock will be up and AMD will be down. Right now, Kamal is 0 for 2. Now 1 out of 2. Hey, it's 50%, pretty good. Apple went positive. VIX is probably negative now. No, still up. All right, everybody. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming today. I really do. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Please try to remember, go out, do something nice for somebody today. Just a smile, a wave, just a kind gesture. It would really improve this world if we could all do that for each other just once a day. And also, if you could please try to go out and do something nice for an animal today. They really do appreciate it. Trust me, I've grown up with so many animals. I really do know this. Just give them a pat on the butt, give them a little scratch under the chin, give them a treat, take them on a walk, throw the ball. Just something. Just something. They will appreciate it. And will feel good for you as well. So Frank says, I see that in a lot in earnings. They drop before they go up. Yeah, because they get the earnings number and sometimes it sells off. And then, when they get guidance from management, a lot of times the guidance what really pushes the stocks. So Quad says, have a great evening, everyone. Thumbs up to the video as always. Thank you, Quad. I appreciate that. And let's see. Okay. And Talal, it was great speaking with you last night. Hope you had a good evening, but it's always nice to meet, the people in the group on Skype. So thank you. And, if you can get that worked out with your schedule, that sounds great. And I look forward to doing the lessons with you once your situation allows for that. All right. Well, I think that's it for the day. Have a good rest of your day. Be good, be kind, be safe, study your charts. do something positive, right? And I will see you hopefully tomorrow during the last hour of the market, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye now. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.